to my channel. Ziara here. This is Z Loves Books. So let's just stop for a second. Can we just appreciate my cute today? Because I'm feeling it, which is why I decided to jump on and do my June wrap up. If you watched my previous video, you know that I participated in Caribathon earlier in the month. And my whole TBR, everything I had planned went out the window. Like, I just wasn't feeling the things that I was reading. But we got some reading done, and it followed the rules. I just had to change things around to suit me a little better. So if you are familiar with Elizabeth Acevedo, you know she is the bomb. And I only know this now because I have officially read all of her books in the month of June. So she has written The Poet X, With the Fire on High, and her latest, Clap When You Land. So we're going to talk about not her first, not her second, not her third, but all three in this video. And I am jazzed and ready to go. So let's start with her most recent, because I actually read these backwards. I did not go from her first to her second to her third. I went from her most recent to her next most recent to her the very first one that she read. So we're gonna start with Clap When You Land. Whoo, baby. This one got to my heart, and it stayed stuck. So in Clap When You Land, you meet two sisters, Camino and Yahaira. Camino lives in the Dominican Republic, and Yahaira lives in New York City. So when you meet these two girls, you don't meet them together. You are coming in at the beginning of the book when their father is traveling to the Dominican Republic to visit Camino, and his plane crashes, unfortunately, and he passes away. And so the two sisters are forced to come to know that the other exists. They have no idea that either one is in existence at all, and so that's a shock first and foremost. And they have to deal with their grief on top of it, and also getting to know who their father was, and the fact that he had a whole entire family. Like, that's a lot to deal with simultaneously for any person, let alone teenage girls. And what I loved about this book is that, first of all, Elizabeth Acevedo went in. She pulled at the heartstrings deeply. She was not playing any games when she wrote Clap When You Land. And it touches on grief. It touches on sisterhood and what that means. It touches on what it means to be family. Blood makes you family, but it doesn't have, your family comes in different sizes. Actually, Camino is being raised by a very good friend of her father's, who she refers to as Thea, but is not actually her blood Thea, and she's like a mother figure to her. And so you kind of deal with what family looks like. What I wish I had gotten to see throughout this book was more of the after effects of what the end of the book. So after the book is over, like, I wanted more of that. We didn't get too much of the next part of the book. So what happens after the sisters know about each other in terms of after the funeral, after everything has gone down, then what? But what I did like about this book is that the sisters each have their own memories of their father. And so they have to come to terms with the fact that, yes, he was this great man, but he had flaws. He had things about him that weren't always the greatest. Some people look at the fact that he had the double family and they're like, I can't mess with this book. But I was here for it because people make mistakes. There's so much to us as a human race and us as individuals. There's just a lot to unpack in each of us. And so we don't know what his reasons were for the decisions that he made. and we'll never get to know because he's no longer here. So that's kind of how I took it. Like, he probably had reasons for what he did. That doesn't make them right, but he did have his reasons. I just loved the theme of sisterhood throughout this, and also it's written in verse. For those of you who don't know, Elizabeth Acevedo is a spoken word poet, and she is amazing, and the book is just so lyrical and beautiful. I read all 3 of her books alongside the audiobook at the recommendation of Brittany over at Melanin Eclectic, and I'm so glad I did. From now on, she is an auto buy for me, and I will forever read every single one of her books alongside the audiobook. There's no other way around it. Like, she narrates her own books, and they're freaking amazing. So if you have not picked up anything by Elizabeth Acevedo, you're missing out, let me tell you. So the next book we're going to talk about is my next favorite, and that is With the Fire on High. Look at this cover. First of all, let me take off the dust jacket so you can see the beauty in it. Can you just please? Can you just please look at this beauty here? So in With the Fire on High, we meet Imani. Imani is a teen mother. She has an almost 3-year-old. She got pregnant as she entered high school, and I just love her strength. Her first priority is her daughter, and that she's all about it. She's all about little Emma. She is trying to juggle being a senior in high school, where her future lies, and how Emma fits into all of that. And her priority is on making sure that her baby gets the best life that Imani can give her. And she is at a private school that she attends, and she gets the opportunity to take part in this culinary arts program where so basically she'll get to cook her way through Spain at the end of her class. If she does well in the class, if they meet all the goals financially, she'll get to go to Spain and she'll get to cook there, and it's an amazing opportunity. But she's also realistic. She's like, listen, I've got this baby girl that I have to take care of, and so fun is a maybe for me. You know, I have financial responsibilities to my daughter, and that my focus has to be there. And so she decides to take the class, and she's an amazing cook. She has a hard time kind of realizing that when you are in somebody else's kitchen, like her teacher's kitchen, she has to follow rules because she's used to cooking based on how she feels and what tastes good, and not necessarily the strictness of measurements and following the recipe and that kind of thing. And so she has to kind of juxtapose those and kind of come to terms with following rules and respecting somebody else's kitchen. Eventually she gets to go to Spain and just she has wonderful experiences. And I just loved watching this girl grow. Like, just the strength in Imani came through. This is actually one of the only books by Elizabeth Acevedo that is not written in verse. So it's regular, like a regular novel. And I loved it. Like I said, I read all of Elizabeth Acevedo's books alongside the audiobook, and I felt like I wanted to get to know Imani. She felt like somebody that I went to high school with. And I just loved her rawness and her realness. And so you get to see her relationship with her abuela, with her daughter's father, the strained relationship she has with her father, who lives, I believe he lives in, I'm not sure. I want to say it's either, I can't off the top of my head. It's either the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico. But there's a strained relationship there. Her mother passed away when she was young, and so she's dealing with that grief. I love the relationship that she has with her maternal aunt. They exchange emails back and forth and recipes. Some of the recipes Imani kind of puts her own twist on, and they're recipes that her mother was familiar with as a young girl. Like, I just love the sense of family that was also strewn out throughout this book. Like, it's just an amazing book. And I highly recommend that as well. So last but not least, we are going to go to Elizabeth Acevedo's first book, and that is The Poet X. So, The Poet X is also written in verse, and we meet Ziamata. Ziamata comes from a very strict Catholic background. Her mother plays no games when it comes to making sure that she is confirmed, making sure that she's doing everything that a good Catholic girl should do. But at the same time, Ziamata is dealing with being a young girl and feeling all of the different things that come along with the opposite sex and all the feelings that she has, like, just swirling around inside of her. Like, you know, being a teenager is not easy. And so she's dealing with the expectations of her mother and the feelings that she has. And so she is just swirling all over the place. She is coming in on her second year of high school, and she has to take an English class, and her teacher is trying to nurture the poet that she is, and she's introduced to spoken word poetry and slam poetry, and she fights it at first. She's like, I don't want to do this, and I can't really go and commit to this spoken word poetry club because I have confirmation classes at the same time, and my mother is not going to let me miss out on those. And so she's trying to deal with what she loves and making sure that her mother is happy too. I don't want to ruin this for you because some things go down in The Poet X, but the Poet X was an emotional one for me because I felt for Ziamata so much, wanting to be young and explore things and figure out who you are, but also just trying to make your family members happy. She is also a twin, and she feels like her and her brother kind of, as they've grown up, are disconnected. There's a lot to unpack in The Poet X, and I loved every minute. Like I said, if you have not picked up anything by Elizabeth Acevedo, you don't know what you're missing. She is automatic purchase for me. Like, that's it. Like, I am team Elizabeth Acevedo. Anything she puts out, I will automatically buy. That's a wrap. Like, she goes in on her books. She just goes in, and you feel like she has a real voice for young adults. You really feel what she is saying to you. So now we're done, guys. I finished my spiel on the books I read for June. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, come back and see me again for more bookish content. I'm here whenever you need me, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.